I generally think DBrand gets way too much hype, especially for a sticker company. But this DBrand tank, well, it is kind of worth the hype. I'm testing 50 iPhone 17 cases to find the best 5. This is review 36 out of 50, almost done. Because I'm a reviewer, not an influencer, for the iPhone 17s, my scoring system is based on what the iPhone actually feels when it hits the ground on its corner, on its face, as well as on its camera lump. Each case gets dropped at least 30 times. So when I say it's terrible, it's because I've got the data to back it up. Now this is a wild looking case. There's just so much stuff on it. Like all sorts of weird markings, the coordinates for Area 51. There's a bunch of these dots, which I think are braille, but I can't figure it out. The edge of this case has massive ridges to it. Corner edges are uniform across the entire iPhone screen. And despite being called the tank, this thing flexes like not a tank. iPhone sits on nothing special but plastic, and there's a bit of binary on the inside. Pretty sure that says DBrand. Now in terms of weight, this thing is 60 grams. As a side note, I have all 50 cases now. It was 50 grams the average, all 50. The average now is 47 grams. Didn't buy any big ones, I guess. Now the tank in terms of bulk, it's a big boy because it'll increase the bulk by 90%. Now, despite the case being very smooth, the handling, the grip is just so good. The case has a matte finish to it, and because of all the ridges and all the doohickeys, there's a lot of things for your fingers to anchor onto when it comes to grip. It's almost too much, maybe. When it comes to the buttons, initially I thought they were integrated, but they are actually flow-through, and these are some of the best buttons that I've used on a case. They're very large, they have a nice click to them, so yeah, no complaints here. Camera control button is covered, but it doesn't have as much travel to it, so it doesn't feel like you're actually pushing it. That's a bit of a red flag for me. When it comes to screen access, the edges of the case are pretty high, so you will feel them. Port cutout is big enough to fit my big cables, and because the cutout is notched and chamfered, doing this feels great. When it came to MagSafe, to pull things off took 11.9 newtons. To push things off took 15 newtons. That's 36% above average. Now when it comes to protective design, the corners at its thickest was 4 millimeters. The back was only 3 millimeters. Those are actually beefy numbers. This case has a lot of flex to it. So in terms of rigidity, it takes 17.2 newtons to bend at 8 mils. That is 38% below average. Now you might be thinking screen protection is going to be terrible for this case, but the reality is it takes 49 newtons to pop the corners off, which is pretty tight, given that the average is 25 newtons. The DBrand tank is unique in the fact that this frame around the edge of the case is actually very, very stiff. It's very, very hard. It's just the back, these pieces are very flexible. What happens when you drop it? On corner jumps, my iPhone recorded 9.1 Gs. That's 11% better than average. Now after the corner drop, when the iPhone does this, that rotation rate was very average. In terms of settling down, well, that was 56% slower. So this case, when it falls, rings a bit more. But despite that, the total force was 14% better than average. Pretty good for a case that's called the tank. Now when you drop it like this, the initial impact was 16% better. The settling rate was 18% worse, and the overall force was 14% better. These aren't bad numbers, and I'm really chalking up to the fact that this whole thing is just very like loosey-goosey rubber. All right, let's take a look at camera lump drops. And this is where it kind of gets crazy because I don't actually know, oh, this thing's so hard to take off. I don't actually know what this is all made out of. It feels like it's TPU, but this inside liner right here feels, it's quite stiff, but it's not stiff like polycarbonate. So whatever DBrand did with the camera lump, it's something I haven't seen before. But whatever they did worked really well. Because the initial impact was 37% better than average, the total force was 32% lower than average. But what do you think is going to happen to the settling rates? Well, it was worse by 28%. So pretty consistent across the board. It's just the settling rates because of just how the case is built. It's just all basically TPU, I think. So the case just does that a lot more. So overall, this thing is actually a really impressive case. Would I get it if I wasn't a reviewer? Oh yeah, my only concern is the camera control button. It just feels way too soft. Just barely clicks. That's all I got for this video. I'm testing 50 iPhone cases to find the best 5. If you want to see what else I've reviewed, check out that playlist. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't, or just check back to my channel regularly because I'll be posting this the moment I finish editing it and all the other cases I've reviewed. Thanks for watching.